Hello everyone, I am Jack and I'm back, and let me show you what I've done today. I was not expecting this to take all day, but it did. So what I did was I needed a flange so that I can mount the wheel opening to the C8 wheel opening to make sure it's centered correctly, and the mounting screws are across this edge and then across that other edge. So in order for that to work, those edges have to be in the right spot. So what I did was I took a piece of metal strip. This is roll flashing. I just got it at Home Depot. And I went off and measured 6 inches in because I determined that's how much of a lip I think I need. Now, the reason why I need a 6-inch lip is because this needs to stick out 2 inches further than the C8. And then I needed at least 2 inches to give me a good mounting surface. And then I added another 2 inches because it's better for it to be too much than too little. I didn't want to have to come back in and add yet more. So now there's a 6-inch lip all in there. So after this cures, I'll be able to put this on the C8 and align the wheel opening. Ideally, the hood opening and everything else will line up like it's supposed to, but again, that's ideal. It might not be the case, but it's going to be pretty close because I did as good as I could aligning it earlier. I just use regular tin snips to cut that. The edge is not critical because the front edge is the actual fender. The back edge is under there. Nobody's going to see it. And there's a likelihood that I'm going to have to cut probably 2 inches off of the back edge. But again, that 2 inches was a safety measure. The other reason I did that is because what I can do is I can put this on the car and then cram a piece of foam all the way around the tire, and then this will be held in place because the foam will push this lip against the fender lip on the C8 between the tire and that will center it, of course. So that's why I did that. And I figured, I looked at it and I said, 2 inches isn't going to be quite enough to do the foam thing. So that's why I added the extra 2 inches. All right, let's see. Oh, and to get the line here, what I did was I did the thing, I don't know if you've seen it, where you take a tape measure and then you use something to clip a marker, a Sharpie, to the tape measure. I use these clips right here. And then the hook of the tape measure goes along the edge. You run it and you get as straight a line as you care about. I didn't really need an absolutely straight line because I knew I couldn't or wasn't going to take the time to cut it exactly. But anyway, that gave me a straight line. Then what I did was I took that piece, marked 6 inches over here, 6 inches over here, flipped it over so the factory edge was here, and then I ran my Sharpie along there. So now I have a straight edge for a 6-inch, another 6-inch wide piece. I don't think I'll need it. I think I can reuse this one, but anyway, I said if I need to make another one, I want it already marked out. And then of course the center piece right there is 8 inches because it's a 20-inch wide piece. 6 inches off of each side leaves 8 inches in the middle. May not even need to cut that. All right. So what I did was, once I got that metal in place, I just put fiberglass on the backside. It's very difficult to tell how thick this is or isn't, but it doesn't really matter because all I need is a surface once I take the metal off. And then once I have that surface, I can always reinforce it from the backside. So that's not really an issue. If I wasn't making a wide body, this would be a concern because, of course, if I was trying to butt this against the C8 wheel opening, there's this chamfer all the way along there, and that would be critical. But because I'm already planning on moving this 2 inches out, the first 2 inches don't really matter. All right, what else do I have? Oh, so I started at one end, and you can see I always use self-tapping screws. So this is what I did. I started one end and put in a self-tapping screw And then I put, oh, and I used a clip to hold this other side in place. Anyway, I put in a self-tapping screw. Then I went a little further and put another one, worked my way around. Then when I went back, there was gaps. Again, I tried not to do that, but ended up with gaps. So then what I did was I put screws in between. So I only had a couple of screws, like 4 screws, but there were gaps in between the actual fender and the piece of metal. They're covered up with fiberglass now. So what I did was I went in and put screws in between. Well, when I did that, when it pulled it in to get rid of that gap, it made everything rotate a little bit this way. So what I had to do was take the screws out and then make slots out of the screws, and the slots obviously had to get bigger and bigger as long as I went along. Now, the slots, I just took a drill bit a little bit bigger. It's 1/8" holes I drilled. So I went ahead and went up about 2 drill sizes. I don't remember what that was. And then I just used the side of the drill to make it into a slot instead of a circle. So it's a bigger circle, bigger hole, and it's slotted. So that allowed me to get it to where there was very little gap. There still was gap. So then what I did, I went on the front side of the fender and put masking tape. This orange masking tape works great. It doesn't, if you use regular masking tape, if you leave it more than a couple of days, it sticks there and leaves residue, and it's a pain to get off. This orange stuff works great. I think it's, I don't remember if it's stronger than the blue or less than the blue, but anyway, it's worked great for me. So I put that tape all along so that no resin would run in between. There were places where I could actually see the liquid. You know, liquid can go through almost any gap. So where the liquid would have gone through, and then it would have gotten on the front surface, and then I would have had to sand it off, and then I would have had to try not to sand the paint when I did that. And I said, forget that, I'm just going to do this. So that when I pull this off, there's going to be places where you'll see a little bit of unpainted fiberglass there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. I thought, you know, typically, I thought it'd take a half a day. It took all day long. A lot of it was from having to do the slots and lower that gap. I didn't have to do that. I could have just taped it, but I decided I wanted to get it as good as possible. Another thing I realized after this thing was already done is that I may not be able to put it on the C8. I don't plan on doing that anyway with the factory fender on there, because there might not be enough space in between here for it to go over the C8 fender. That gap may be too narrow. If it is, all I have to do is cut this down more, so it's not a big deal. Again, I don't need all 6 inches of that there. The other thing is, like I said in my previous video, I'm pretty sure I have this fender off of the orange C8 that I previously modified. And if that's the case, I can finagle it and get it to go in there. One of the decisions I have to make is, am I going to use the same, let's see, dividing spots for the fender? So let me go show you what I'm talking about. So right now, this half of a fender is one piece. Of course, I plan on joining it to the other one. Then it would be a one-piece front end. Those are a little ungainly to work with, but the nice thing is you end up with not having to align things. But if you look at the C8, this is one fender right here, side fender, and then right here. So I could cut my fender to match that. And then the front nose is a separate piece. So I have to decide, do I want to do that, or do I want to have this whole U shape one piece? And I haven't decided yet, but I am leaning towards a separate piece, I think. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you think I should make it all one piece, or should I make it into 3 pieces? All right. Okay. Well, that's all I've got for now. Let me come over here. I always like to stop with a view of what I'm working on. There we go. All right, so like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, You don't know, Jack? Bye.